Did you know the co-star, Estelle Getty, wanted to get out of the display? Estelle Getty was born as Estelle Cher on July 25, 1923 in New York. Was raised in a working-class Jewish household reared amid the cultural melting pot. Getty was introduced to the pot of New York, arts and entertainment at an early age. Her parents, Charles and Sarah Cher, were hard-working Polish-Jewish immigrants. To support her family, her father worked in the glass business as her mother was a homemaker. Getty fell in love with from an early age and dreamed of performance, become an actress, but the route to stardom wasn't easy in an era when Hollywood and Broadway emphasized youth and traditional beauty. Getty, a small woman with a remarkable voice, and Siobhan Murphy, who faces strong comedic instincts, confronted problems entering the industry. Getty had been trying to gain for years acknowledgement of her talent. She continually landed parts in the she had to New York theater circuit. Mix her love of acting with the she worked at the reality of family life. Regular jobs to support her husband, Arthur Gelman, and his two sons, Carl and Barry, in spite of her duties. At home, she never gave up the idea of always trying out for plays and taking tiny parts in local theater productions. Getty's determination, her dedication to her craft that were steadfast after having invested decades. Amid relative obscurity, she began up acting. Courses sharpened her comedic timing and took part in many off-Broadway plays, but never hit the mainstream. Ultimately, in 1982, at about 60 years of age, Getty's big break came when she landed the Mrs. Beckoff's involvement in the Broadway production of Torch Song Trilogy. Harvey wrote a breakthrough play. Firestein, the character, an overbearing, but the loving Jewish mother, struck a chord with Getty's naturally comic style and ability to mix comedy with sincerity. Precise emotion. Firestein had developed a position with Getty in mind, acknowledging her unique gift to offer. Her acting to bring the character to life was acclaimed by critics and spectators alike, winning her a drama nomination for a Desk Award. She said, for years playing Mrs. Beckoff in Broadway and off-Broadway productions that established her as a outstanding theater skill. This part was eventually the turning point stage in her career that led her to the notice of big TV. Getty's efforts in Torch Producers' 1985 Song Trilogy played a major role, earning her a life-changing role on NBC's television. Producers of new sitcom The Golden Girls acknowledged her comic brilliance and cast her as Sophia Petrillo, the sharp-tongued yet kind mother of Dorothy's leaned against the board, played by B. Arthur. Carefully picked wigs, suitable clothing, and heavy stage makeup to age her up a good deal. The role an ironic need, since she was 1 year younger than Sophia. Arthur, so quick-witted in real life, sardonic humor, and profound love for her family, making her one of the most beloved television characters. History. Getty's portrayal of Sophia Petrillo garnered her broad critical. She won the premiere in 1988 and got acclaim Emmy Award for Outstanding Time Guest Actress in a Comedy Series. Her chemistry with co-stars B. Arthur, Betty White, and Rue McClanahan were a key part in the show's towering success. The Golden Girls wasn't just a commercial hit, but it also pioneered new, grounded in television by stressing the lives of older women, a demographic that long had been ignored by Hollywood. The show dealt with important problems. Date Later includes elderly health care, in life and social justice, and when providing laugh-out-loud laughs, the Golden Girls stayed a top-rated show for 7 seasons, often landing in the top 10 in the Golden Girls Neil ratings. 1992, Arthur chose, and it came to an end, to abandon the series to seek fresh ventures with Getty. Nevertheless, co-stars of McClanahan and Betty White continued in the spin-off series The Golden Palace, the series that succeeded it. The characters managing a motel lasted only 1 season before its cancellation. In spite of this, Getty's talent guaranteed that she remained a sought-desired actress on television in the years that guest appearances on she made follow. featuring various famous programs on TV. Touched by an empty nest nurses blossom. Angel furious about you and her the nanny. Versatility as an actress permitted her to move effortlessly from one comedy and drama, showing her many talents. His career was not just about Getty. Television she also did important. Film appearances before and during. Her appearance on Golden Girls she had. Small parts in a few movies. Sweet Tootsie 1982. Mask 1985 and the action humor End or My Will Shoot Mom in 1992 where she appeared with Sylvester, but Stallone the latter movie. Severely panned, attained cult, following through the years from Getty's. Her funny and charismatic performance, ability to steal scenes with her, made her a performer with excellent comic timing, outstanding in every project she took. Had been acted and participated, Getty resorted to writing and fitness. In 1988, she co-authored her autobiography, What If I Knew Then What I Know Now, with the assistance of writer Steve. Delson the book gave readers an insight into her private and chronicling her professional life. Decades of struggles, rise and fall. 2. Popularity. Getty's humor and honesty made. The book is a must-read for fans of interested to know more about women. After the legendary Sophia Petrillo, she also discussed the importance of health and fitness for elders and published an exercise video in 1993, primarily targeted to older folks. This endeavor was a tribute to her dedication to improving well-being in her fan BR/, adored actress and bass Estelle Getty. The activist had met Arthur Mann at a social event the pals from the New York stage circuit when she was young, a wannabe actress who loves the theater, and Arthur was a solid and hard-working man who eventually became her introduction to her long-term companion. At the party ignited a whirlwind romance. And in 9 months, on December 21st, in 1947, the couple married, began what would be a decades-long love marriage with mutual respect and common beliefs. It was here that this era Estelle, born Estelle Sure Estelle, had decided to call herself Getty on stage, on her husband's artwork on the last name, but making a little adjustment for dramatic, united Estelle and Arthur creative flair. A family that had 2 boys, Carl Mann and Barry Gelman. Their home life was focused on their children and their shared experiences in the cultural, news-rich and diverse neighborhoods. The pair initially settled in New York City, in the Bronx, where they set up and fitted to their early family life, the responsibilities of parenthood, and Estelle pursued her acting ambitions yet, with the births of their children and the imperative of giving them a stable environment, the family had made. Huge step into Oakland Gardens. There at Bell Park, they live Queens. A forward-looking cooperative gardens, housing community that was especially designed for Jewish World War II veterans. The community has a reputation for its friendly and inviting atmosphere, a perfect place for young people. Families, such as the Gettlemans, flourished when Arthur Gelman found steadiness in dealing with his installation of father-in-law glass. Business Estelle went on nurturing, her love for acting blossoming into tiny stage plays and balancing her wife and mommy duties, despite the obstacles she faces a woman in, especially the entertainment industry, especially one who did not fit the Estelle Hollywood standard mold. Kept determined all the time, applying for local theater roles, productions, and slowly making money. Acclaim for her comic abilities and perfect time, but the dynamics of their marriage had a major change in the mid-1980s when Estelle Getty scored the defining role of Sophia Petrillo on the pioneering situation comedy The Golden, the show that girls debuted in. 1985 soon became a cultural phenomenon, sending Estelle off to practically sudden stardom for her. The new success brought the need of moving to California, where the deep-rooted Arthur series filmed, in his New York life and dedicated to His enterprise made the painful decision to stay on the East Coast instead of. The couple, to root himself out of the result, lived apart for a long time, keeping a long-distance marriage from mid-1980s until despite the geographic 1990s. Their bond was strong separation and continued to support each other in their respective efforts. Estelle excelled in her role as Sophia, receiving great acclaim and an Emmy Award, and fans all across the world adoration, while Arthur was devoted to his business and community in New York City. Sadly, their long and devoted Arthur put an end to matrimony. Gelman died on September 24th, 2004, aged, though they had paid for several years, 85. Always spoke physically apart Estelle of her husband with heartfelt acknowledgement of him, steadfast support through their marriage and career. The Golden Girls, still one of the most beloved sitcoms, recognized in television history for its clever comedy and heartfelt moments and the great synergy among its four lead actresses be Arthur, Betty White, Rue. However, Estelle Getty and McClanahan, but the fans love the sharp-tongued, hilarious persona of Sophia P. By Estelle Getty. Many fans could have not know that Getty truly had a problem with the show and even wanted, though Estelle, to depart at one time. Some of Getty's most famous was acclaimed online nurse in the series. Her sense of timing and comedy off the screen. She encountered major hurdles that made her think about quitting the show. Unlike her co-stars, Getty was comparatively when a television acting novice. The Golden Girls started before landing the part of Sophia. She had spent most of her theater career where she was used to a lot of practice. Grew older, Getty was also said to experiencing acute stage fright, something it is unusual among actors who have had, but worked in the theater for years. The pressure to provide, in her case, in front of cameras along with in the presence of an audience in live tapings made her very nervous. She sometimes froze during recording, requiring multiple takes that frustrated both the crew and her other castmates. But her co-stars were often supportive. Getty was reported to have felt that she was not living up to the expectations placed on her past the pressures of the show. Estelle Getty also had health problems that had prompted her time on the Golden Girls hard. In subsequent years, it was evident that she was in the early stages of dementia, which becomes more difficult for her to memorize lines and concentrate on her performance. But even before these difficulties emerged, she often said feelings of self-doubt and fought tremendous stress that was taking its toll on her. Another major concern, well-being, that Getty faced was the extensive makeup method required for her part. Unlike the other three actresses, Getty was in fact younger than her on-screen daughter B. Arthur by more than a year to believably play the feisty old Sophia. Getty had to put up with long hours in the cosmetics chair prior to every wig and makeup, the aging filming session. The clothes she wore were unpleasant, until finally the procedure became stressful for her, while Estelle Getty got along well with her fellow castmates. For the most part, there were cases of tension, especially with B. Arthur. Arthur was recognized for her strong and sometimes scary personality can be challenging to work with. Although Getty and Arthur had a reciprocal professional regard for each other, Getty was apparently nervous around her, which only heightened her. Getty also found himself frustrated at stressful for lengthy hours on television production. Unlike theater, where arranged performances, TV sitcom schedule involved shooting long waits, endless retakes, and protracted days at the set. She found this grueling, especially when she grew old and longed for a quieter, less hectic life. Even though she struggles, Estelle Getty stayed on the Golden Girls for all 7 seasons, run from 1985 to 89, 1992, but when the show was over and was golden after the spin-off, Palace of, Getty was hesitant to sign on. She 1992 finally appeared in the spin-off. However, she was limited in her participation relative to her part in the original series by the time Golden Palace Getty was ready, and the season ended after one, to get away from television completely. But she faced personal and Estelle Getty's professional obstacles. Depiction of Sophia Petrillo is still one among the most loved characters in television history. She received an Emmy for her role and left a footprint on comedy while she once dreamed of leaving the golden girl she endures, developing a figure who goes on to delight viewers decades later in the conclusion. Despite the obstacles, she, with Estelle Getty's passion to the show and her character worked out while she might have been struggling in the background. Her work on the Golden Girls is an ongoing, a tribute to her talent and ability. Determination. Estelle Getty has died early morning of July 22nd, 2008 at her home in Los Angeles. Her death happened just 3 days California before her 85th should have been birthday, later confirmed by her family. The death was caused by complications from severe body dementia in Lewis.